And welcome. It is Friday. I'm your friend Scotty. We're starting this morning off chilly. It's not downright cold, but, well, in my world it is. 34 right now. We'll get to 58 for a high a little bit later today. And frost. If you've got to leave home in a hurry, it might not hurt to warm that vehicle up, depending upon where you live. Might need 2 keys, 1 to lock. We have so many times people warm up cars and they're taken when they come back to get them. So be cautious on that. Eventually, they'll come up with something on newer vehicles to where you can do that. That's that push-button start thing. Mine's not equipped with that just yet. It's nice, I hear, though. Good morning. How are you? We certainly hope you're feeling great as you're starting this. I won't tell you what the calendar says it is, because I don't want to bring any of that superstitious into today. Does that make sense? We all know it's out there. We just won't say it. Does that work if you close your eyes?
Yeah, okay. A little bit.
It's there. A lot of people believe in that type stuff. I don't know. We're going to make it a good day regardless, aren't we? We'll just dance around that a little bit. Let's go get a good word. Let's go to Collinsville now. Don't forget they'll be opening up Sunday morning at 10 o'clock there for you to come on in for church services. Let's go to Collinsville now.
You know, one of the most colorful personalities in sports history is the late, great Muhammad Ali, who was born by the name Cassius Clay. He would float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. And many would argue that he's the greatest boxer of all time. Now, that's certainly what Muhammad Ali thought about himself, right? He didn't hesitate to declare his greatness. He loved to say that he was the greatest and pretty, so pretty. He would even quote himself in a poem later that was called, "I Am the Greatest." It started out saying, "This is the legend of Cassius Clay, the most beautiful fighter in the world today. He talks a great deal and brags indeedly of a muscular punch that's incredibly speedy." And then it ended several lines later by saying, "For I am the man this poem is about, the next champ of the world. There isn't a doubt. I am the greatest." Now, Ali was a great self-promoter, but I wonder, is that something that you and I should emulate? Should we talk about how great we are? Well, let's turn to the wisdom of Scripture found in Proverbs 27, verse 2. There God says, "Let another praise you, and not your own mouth, a stranger, not your own lips." God's word says, in other words, that we should avoid self-promotion. Let others talk about our greatness if you have any greatness. Otherwise, you'll come across as either delusional, because you actually have no greatness, or a braggart who's cocky and conceited. And neither of those options are favorable ones. No, it's better to be great and let others do your promotion. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. Welcome back. Pam Cooper says she's tickled to be at home again, back in her own bed, away from one of those hospital recliner beds. There's one thing about being in a hospital I think we can all say. Just when you think you're going to go to sleep, somebody comes in and rolls you over and pokes you with something. Every 2 hours, isn't it? I think it's something like that. They mean well, but it doesn't give you a good night's rest, does it? It's always good to get back to your house and, well, normal food with salt and pepper on it. Man, that's the most bland thing. We've all heard that term, hospital food, haven't we? They can't help it because so many people have different diets that they can't have. But, man, it's bland. It's like, well, I won't go there. It just doesn't taste good. We all know that. Good morning to everyone. I hope your day is going so well for you. Mark is up there. Tennessee is joining us. Wally, good morning to you. Glad to have you with us there. As we start headlines across America, a few of these will grab your attention. RFK. I know there was a lot of talk when this was brought up about him being put in charge. The weight loss drug. So many Ozempic and many other brands that are out there that people were on. He was against that. And almost a little bit of a U-turn, he's saying, well, he's going to work with them on that. It has a place now in America. That's good. There were a lot of people that were worried about that problem. It's a miracle drug. You're right, LaWanda, that no salt issue there. As we look around, what else is going on today? This is, let's see here. I have never bought one. Raise your hand if you've ever had an Apple AirTag. I haven't purchased one yet, but I hear they're amazing if you need to track something, your car, luggage, whatever. And there's the First United, which is an airplane company, United. They're going to integrate that. If you've got an AirTag, they'll track that in case luggage is lost. You'll know exactly where it is, and they'll be able to find it quicker. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? I hear those little AirTags are great for showing where somebody shouldn't be also.
Yeah.
It will track your car, and somebody had to do some splaining, Lucy. Why were you on that side of town? Just always do the right thing, and you have no explaining to do, right, Odie? That's right. It. We've come to that conclusion there. We had an American air flight that had to divert yesterday. It took off from LaGuardia Airport in New York, hit a bird, struck one. And we know how dangerous that is. It made an emergency landing, and all was well in the end. What was the airplane they made the movie of the pilot that landed it in the... yeah, Tom Hanks played the part. That was a great show. Scully?
Yeah, and it was a 747.
Big deal. That pilot was incredible what he done. And you just never know. We've seen so many things happen with airplanes lately. Now, I think doctors, again, would probably argue with what I'm fixing to say on this. Nationally, they're saying that kids taking the flu shot is down, one of the lowest times it's ever been. I am totally against ever taking a flu shot. You want to know why? They say it's all in my head, and it was accidental. It just happened to be. The one time I took it was the sickest that I ever got in my life. And it was like a moment with Gone with the Wind, Her in the Garden. Do y'all remember that? As God is my witness, I'll never be hungry again. Mine was, as God is my witness, I'll never take a flu shot again. I haven't. But again, I don't quite understand it. It may have a place, and I don't want to run doctors down. They know more than me, but you're putting it in you, and it makes you sick. I don't know. It made me bad sick. I just don't want any part of it. But there's a lot of people that take it every year that seem to be okay. It's just not for me. Well, again, some people would argue with me. Scully, we're getting that right. Thank you, Karina. That was the name of the movie. A great show, if you ever get a chance to watch that. Here's a miracle. It was off the coast of Italy. An 11-year-old girl and probably some form of migrants. The ship that she was on sank. She held on to inner tubes for 3 days until she was rescued all by herself. 3 days. Bet she was scared. She's okay now, and that's good news as we look across the pond with stories that happen. I don't know everything about this as I read this. I've seen the website BuzzFeed. Apparently, they have a show that was called, what was it called there? Their hottest asset, called Hot Ones. It was a show that's on YouTube. They're selling it. They're getting $82 million for it. And as I read this, and it turns out what they're going to do with that is someone else is buying it, they're going to do a show with it, and then they will branch out and do other shows. I've watched one of these guys on there. It's called Mythical Entertainment. And what they do, they're investors in it. They taste food from around the world. They have like 1 million people watch it every day. They just taste different food. I don't get it, but interesting. Also in the notes there of one of the investors, and I just couldn't do it, George Soros, part of the bunch that will be investing in that company. Some things just show you that you don't need to be a part of that. Morgan Wallen, y'all remember him? Mr. Rooftop Chair Chunker. He has been sentenced. He will spend 7 days at a DUI center for throwing the chair off the rooftop. Wow. He had a smirk on his face. I think that is it's a joke around Nashville at this point, but he will spend his 7 days there. And again, although it was sort of funny to some degree, someone could have got hurt. You just don't launch a chair. Someone could have been below, and it would have been horrible. Here we go. Let's see what else is happening this morning. Fort Worth, Texas, they have found the body of a mother. Her boyfriend is to blame for this. She was found in a field with a gunshot wound. We pass along condolences on that. Also, we talked about this from Pennsylvania yesterday. Do you remember us talking about the mother that was shot in her home? She was bedridden. Her son, who was 25, was in the home, ran to her rescue. He was killed by an intruder. They've arrested one. They were on the lookout for the second suspect that broke in that home. They were just going to steal and turned into murder that quickly. We do hope that this guy is found quickly as they comb the areas in Pennsylvania looking for him. What else is happening here? The CFO that was killed, healthcare. Turns out the guy that did this, we all, kind of in the back of my mind, thought he was a client. Maybe he had a grudge there. Turns out he didn't have insurance with that company. Here is something horrible. She was in the hospital for a few months. You ever seen those beds that go back into the wall? An 80-year-old lady was slammed against the wall. She wasn't found for 2 days. She would die a month later from her injuries from being slammed to the wall. That's those final destination things of you don't even understand how that can happen, but how awful that is. But she made it a month before she passed away. Trump, and he's probably being as honest about this as he can because this takes time. As we all, each of you are heading out to a grocery store at some point because you have friends and family coming. I saw an article where someone canceled their Thanksgiving because it jumped from $200 and something that they normally spend for the same product. It would have been close to $500, and they just couldn't afford it this year. He says, be patient. It will take time for grocery prices to come down. He's putting his hope on lowering gas prices, which, as we all know, affects everything. We do hope that that will happen. Here's not a shocker. Egg prices at an all-time high. What do you remember the last? We got our own chicken, so I don't know a lot about this. We got chickens everywhere. But they're at an all-time high. Have anybody bought a dozen lately of what they're going for? It's not cheap, I do know that. I can remember when we first got married, seeing it 99 cents. Occasionally when it got higher, it'd be $1.99 a dozen, but I think it's way past that. Way past that. So pricing of eggs going up. Be ready for that. Trump probably smart to say this because a lot of times what you say people will use against you on purpose. He downplayed this. The person who is going into Congress that is transgender, they tried to corner him about the bathrooms. He said that we need to focus on what our country needs to do, and that's the way he answered it. He didn't go off like sometimes he will. He kept it down the middle and said we need to focus on what our nation's needs are. They were looking for a hook line, and you all know that. A 60-count box of eggs is $20. Wow. Wally World, $3.97 plus tax. Bought a dozen yesterday in Montana. Almost $7, $6.79, Kevin says.
Better go get your own chicken.
Wow. Well, we're going to share that story. Did y'all see the chicken at Hilton Garden? He's got his own box. We got his picture up. We'll talk about that this morning. Chickens. You're the last chicken in Atlanta. I don't know if anybody remembers that scene. That was funny. That was funny. I can't watch this. I know it's a big show out there, and a lot of people love this stuff. This Vanderpump Rules. Are y'all familiar with that show? I think it probably has different values than I do, but a guy named James Kennedy that is on there has been arrested for suspicion of domestic violence. He'll have his day in court, and we'll see what happens to that. Let's see here. Heart surgery. As we see how, when's the last time anybody had to go to a hospital and you get really and truly, I can remember as a kid, if I'm not mistaken, there being one bill at the end of it that you got in the mail and you paid your bill. Now you go and each division is broken down and it may be months of you getting bills. It was a company after a story was ran about how they do billing there. 11,500 people are going to have their debt wiped away. NBC did a story on all of this. It was a guy that had a heart attack. They'd put a lien against his house. He couldn't pay it. What was it? Years ago, you could make it like a $5 payment, and they couldn't go against you so long as you made a payment. But the problem now is you get so many different bills for each division that $5 adds up to $200 before you know it, and you can't make the minimum payment. Our insurance is a mess. Matter of fact, I got to find health. I'm losing mine at the end of the year. They sent me a letter and said, you are no longer welcome with us. We're shutting it down. Yeah. So what's left? I got to do something. I got, 2 weeks?
Yep.
Now, I hadn't used it since I had my heart issue, but apparently they don't like you if you have one of those. Like, wow. Go away. So I got to get some of that. Let's see here. What else is happening in America this morning? This is Malibu, as we see fires. I had a couple there lose their home. That's awful there. The list keeps growing of people that have had their pardon from Biden. Yeah. Boy, it's a bunch of people on that. Have y'all looked at that list there? And my question is, if you were really in trouble in the U.S. of A., do you call your congressman to get in touch with somebody at the White House to get pardoned? Is that how it works? And they do a little pleading for you? Can we get one? Oh, Greg's pointing out how it really does. We might need one of those blanket policies for future endeavors. Let's see here. I've never watched those Bachelor shows. Anybody familiar with those? Well, apparently, one of them they give roses to. Apparently, they've got a senior one now. And I guess it's after you go back to dating after losing a spouse or whatever the case is. The guy that won it, the Golden Bachelor, a guy named Jerry Turner, says he has incurable cancer. We feel for him. That would be that's sad. That is a disease that is awful. And I don't know if anybody caught the story that we posted on this yesterday. It kind of caught me off guard because I thought he had already gotten out safely, and he was out safely, but the story of how he got to safety. Dick Van Dyke, who has a birthday today, he's still with us. Neighbors were evacuating the neighborhood, those wildfires, and he was crawling to his car. He couldn't walk. He was crawling. They stopped, helped him get in his car, and he evacuated safely. What a miracle. And that goes to tell, I don't care where you live, it's the ritziest neighborhood, or if it's out in the country, kind of like we do. Check on your neighbors. Make sure they're okay. Every now and then, glance over the yard. Make sure they're okay. You never see what you'll see. And I know we've all been fooled with those Halloween where the ladders hanging the guys on the side of the house. We've been fooled by that. Wow. Let's see what else is happening here. I'm going to show you a picture of her. She may be doing a wonderful job. This is from Daily Mail. I want you to look at this young lady there. She's 97 years old. She's on the bench, and they're saying, you really ought to retire and quit being a judge. It's getting a little, is that the age, or are you still spry? As we see Schumer at 82, he needs to go home now. Yeah, Gerald Wayne. Yeah. We sent him home at 50, did we? Judge Thompson is who we're referring to. We had lunch with him the other day. Still totes his gavel around. Y'all notice that? He keeps it in his pocket. Tries to. You got hit 3 times at lunch. Gerald Wayne. Y'all say hello to him if y'all see him parked illegally up at Sam's today. He has a tendency to, think he's got his own parking place.
Up front, so you'll notice
up front. You can't miss it. It's a Ford truck all up in the fire zone. We're really not making this up. That's true. And we tend to pick on him about that. We'll be right back. We're going to get into your weather forecast next as we get this morning underway. Let's put a smile on. Let's make this a great one. And again, pay no attention to what the date is and it being Friday. Y'all just forget all of that. We'll be right back.
This is going to be our biggest year-end clearance event ever here at Doc's Toyota in Philadelphia. Inventory is up and rates are finally down. We promise to save you thousands on any of our new inventory. From Siennas to Sequoias, Camrys to Corollas, Tundras, Tacomas, no matter the model, we will not be undersold. We want your business. With interest rates as low as 1.99%, top dollar value for your trade-in, and thousands off all of our inventory, Doc's Toyota is your clear choice for your next Toyota purchase. So come see us here at Doc's Toyota in Philadelphia, at docstoyota.com or on Facebook. And remember, there's no deal like a Doc's deal.
The most wonderful time of the year is just around the corner, and Al's Garden and Gift is ready for a magical Christmas season. From sparkling Christopher Radko ornaments to custom wreaths by Wanda, we've got your holiday decor covered. Looking for the perfect gift? Try our custom baskets packed with treats like Mississippi cheese straws and old-fashioned peppermint sticks. And be sure to add vibrant colors to your outdoors with pansies and snapdragons. Charm and beauty await your home this wonderful season. Merry Christmas from Al's Garden and Gift.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
Our record highs and record lows. It was 1931. We had a hot day. It was 81. Anybody remember that? Did we have somebody that's in the medical field in the thing with a badge on in the studio? We have a professional in the studio. We're all thrown off by that girl walking in. Oh boy. This is like business day. We didn't know it. 62, it was a low of 4 degrees, y'all. 1962, you just couldn't hardly stand it. It was hot. We'll show a picture in a minute here of this young lady. She has got it going on. I don't know what to think. Is Granny in the studio with us? The Beverly Hillbillies have arrived. Sunshine today as we take a look at what the national forecast says for us. Greg's offended. A high of 58 as we see this. A few clouds with sunshine as we look around the state. Even 59 up in the Delta, down to 63 as we get to Natchez. A little warmer there southward. As we go to Bama, we'll see 57 in Demopolis. Birmingham, 56. Even over at Auburn, those War Eagles will hang out at 57. As we look at what's coming, kind of normal temperatures for us here across the state as we head toward Christmas. Warmer weather back out in California and New Mexico, those areas. Here's our 7-day forecast, what we've got. 58 today, down to only 40 tonight. As we look at Saturday, the weekend, 65 with a 10% chance of rain during the daytime. As we get to Sunday, we'll get a high of 69. That's warm. 71 on Monday. 64 as we move into Tuesday, and we'll be steady at 60, nighttime lows in the 40s. As we go all the way to Christmas Day, Christmas Eve, still 56 for Santa with a low of 38. He'll still need some fur on that night as he passes over. As we move into Christmas Day, 60 and 43. Perfect weather, and we've got highs in the 60s. But y'all look at this. The shortest day of the year is going to be cold. December the 21st, we will have a high of 47 and a low of 23. Y'all get out some firewood, be ready. There's a couple of days off, but be prepared for that. Saturday the 21st and Sunday the 22nd, highs in the 40s, nighttime lows in the 20s. So it's going to be kind of miserable there for a couple of days there. As we go for our fishing forecast today, here's what we have. Looks like perfect weather to fish at 10 o'clock today till noon. Couple hours there that is good. Minor time this afternoon around 2:30 to 4:30. Wind's going to be light, east wind becoming east at southeast 5 to 10 this morning. Not bad. What about your deer hunters? Let's check into that as we look at Wimberley. Our major time to hunt today is going to be at 9 o'clock this morning, 9 till 11. Not bad at all, is it? A minor time this afternoon around 3 o'clock, 3 to 4. You've got about an hour there. Sunrise is at 6:47 this morning. Sunset will hit at 4:50 this afternoon. Again, that wind's light east wind becoming east 5 to 10. Today, the rating hunting is better is what we've got on the forecast. There's way too much fun going on in the background. I don't know what they're doing. They're all laughing. There's no telling. As we turn, what are y'all doing over there? There they are. She gets out of the screen. She don't want to be seen. Left Greg by himself. Folks, join us. It all gets underway in about 3 minutes from now. It's going to be a great time. We got coffee brewing right around the corner, and we'll go live in about 2 minutes. We'll come back with the other show. Join us, won't you? It'll be a lot of fun. We look forward to it. Good morning, Jeff Lewis. We'll see you in a moment.